It's your girl Kajah.Damiya, and I'm back with another video. And don't mind this line in my forehead, y'all. I have my scarf on. I didn't know it was that freaking tight. But today's video is basically just gonna be like a story time on how I had COVID and how I'm dealing with it, and basically, yeah. So like what I went through and stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna tell y'all my story and yeah. Okay, so it started back in September. I want to say like around Labor Day weekend. I had realized a couple days after I had realized like that like that whole week I was like not feeling good, but like one day I would have a really bad headache, then the next day I would what were all my symptoms, y'all? This is way back in September, so I'm trying to think. I just had I had most of the symptoms for COVID like that whole week, but each day was something new. And I was like, okay, well maybe I'm just not feeling good. So then the last day, whatever, I think it was a Friday, I had diarrhea and I threw up. And I was like, okay, well, something's really wrong, because at first I kept trying to play off like the symptoms like, oh, there's something else, but then I realized like, okay, all these symptoms are lining up with COVID. So first thing I did was I text my RA, I think, or RD, one of them, and let them know I wasn't feeling good. And they directed me to talk to my athletic trainer, and I talked to them, and they told me to stay in my room and quarantine until I could go to the doctors and get a COVID test. But the doctors was closed that Monday because it was Labor Day. So then that Monday I went to the doctors, got my COVID test, and when I came back to my room, I had to stay in my room in quarantine because yeah, I couldn't leave out until I got my results. And then like that next day they had texted me. It was like, oh no, they called me and they were like, you are positive for coronavirus, whatever. So I was like, what? Like, me, I have COVID? Like, what? Like, I was in shock. Like, COVID, Kajah? You know? So then once I realized I had COVID, I had to let the RD know that I had COVID. And they give you the option A, to go home, or option B is to quarantine on campus if you can't go home. And for me, I live 8 hours away from the school, so for me to have my parents drive 8 hours to come get me and then drive 8 hours back knowing I have COVID, like, I just didn't want to put them through that, and I didn't want to put anyone else's health at jeopardy because, you know, I want to come home. So I was like, it's okay, like, I can thug it out and just, you know, quarantine here on campus. So when I first found out I had COVID, like, it didn't really hit me for real. Like, of course, I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I have COVID, like, and she was like, you know, my mom is so dramatic. And she was basically just like, oh my God, like, and then I like told my family members and everything that I had COVID. Everybody was just, you know, praying for me, keep me in good spirits and stuff like that. So now it's the day for me. It's the same day I found out I had COVID. So I had to quarantine in another dorm, which is next door to my dorm, when they had like a quarantine section set up. I had to quarantine in that dorm in a room. And basically the room is like a regular dorm room, but it has nothing in it but a bed and a desk, whatever. So I had to stay. You had to quarantine for 10 days once they figure out the start date, like, so 10 days after that. So I had already been quarantining for like 3 to 4 days. So I had to quarantine for just like 6 or 7 days in that room. So come to find out, it's like, okay, well, you have you now know that you have COVID, so you need to move out of the dorm, because I live in a regular dorm and it's community style, so like share the same bathrooms and everything with people, so I couldn't stay here. So they told me I need to take everything that I needed to stay in there for a week, whatever, and they would provide me with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So basically, I had to bring my own sheets, my own comforter, had to bring all my shower stuff, had to bring clothes, my laptop, my textbooks, everything I needed to do work, survive. Then I bought my own snacks because I already knew 9 times out of 10 I wasn't gonna like the food. So I bought like a lot of stuff, and then on top of that, my dad was like, well, you're gonna be in that room for 7 days, so you should bring your TV. And I was like, yeah, I should bring my TV. But mind you, like, when you're having COVID, like, well, during COVID, like, my body is weak, I'm tired, I'm lethargic, so like I had to move all that stuff that I wanted to bring with me to that room by myself. So I had to carry the TV up and down. I had to carry the TV down 3 flights of steps, and then down the sidewalk to the next dorm. I had to bring the big bag I bought with me with all the stuff my own comforters, all that stuff. I bought all that by myself, so that was already a lot. Like, that process was a lot. I was drained after that. So then basically once I stepped foot in that building and to the quarantine section, I was locked in. Like, I couldn't leave out the building. And basically, if I needed to go to the bathroom, it's a bathroom on that hallway and it's a shower on that hallway. But yeah, that's it. Like, you can go from your room to the bathroom to the hallway. That's back into your room, which is quarantining. So day 1 of quarantine, I was just like, okay, I can do this, you know, I can get through it. Like, and then as like the second day came, I'm like, okay, this is not the best thing I've ever done, but you know, we'll get through it, you know, trust my faith. And my family members were like calling me, checking on me like all the time. So I had, even though they weren't here, they were here for me. So then, like, I want to say like maybe like the middle of the week type thing, I started to get like really like weary, like, and I was just feeling like I was by myself, and like I was going through like one of the hardest things I've been through in my life by myself, because I was in a room by myself. You know, I didn't have my mom there. You know, my mom is like my go-to. I didn't have her there. I really didn't have anybody. Like, my I felt alone. Like, nobody was there for me. It was hard. Like, but my friends that go here, like, they like throughout the week they bought me food and stuff and left it at the door, and I could go and eat that, because the school food they were providing was not it was not, you know, something that you wanted to eat 3 times a day. So I was rarely eating, and then I kind of didn't have an appetite because I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste, so it was just really forcing myself to eat. So yeah, I'm thankful for them because they bought me food throughout the week, and they checked on me. And then also, like, my boyfriend, he was there for me as well, like, you know, supporting me, making sure I was okay, stuff like that. But yeah, so back to the whole I felt alone and stuff like that. It was like a really hard process, but like I prayed, I tried to do most of my work, I watched TV, I was just doing a whole lot of stuff to keep myself occupied, so that way I didn't think about, like, you know, to get into a place where I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm by myself, what am I gonna do? Like, no, I didn't want to go there because that's not me. So basically, so yeah, I was quarantining. I quarantined for that whole time. And as y'all know, or if y'all don't know, I run track here at Erskine. And yeah, so boom. Oh, I run track here at Erskine, yeah. So I was quarantining for like, I quarantined for the whole time. Once my quarantine was up, I got out of quarantine. I ran out of there, girl. She said you may leave. I said, go on my stuff, gotta go. I couldn't have been more excited to leave. Like, you would have thought I was being held captive or something. Like, so then I got a quarantine and came back to my room, got situated. I had to like disinfect my whole room, clean out everything, wash all the stuff. Yeah. So then, okay, so after you have COVID, you have to, in order to get back to your sport, you had to get cleared by athletic trainer and the doctor. So they had to send you to get an EKG. Yeah, I think it was just the EKG to make sure your heart and everything's good. So I go to my doctor's appointment to get my EKG, and my EKG came back good. Like, my heart was fine, but the doctor had said something about, like, she heard that I was wheezing. Oh, yeah, she heard that I was wheezing. And after COVID, like, I had complications, like, because I already have asthma. So after COVID, like, it was harder for me to breathe, like, doing little things, like walking up and down the steps or walking from point A to point B. Like, I was winded, like, more than the normal, like. So yeah, I stressed those to the doctor or whatever, and she said that she could hear wheezing or whatever. So she got blood. I took that day when I was just supposed to go to get EKG. I got blood work done. I got a what else happened? Oh, they measured my oxygen levels, and then she scheduled me to come back and get a ultrasound on my lungs. So from there, this whole like getting clear process turned into a long process. Like, I ended up, let me tell y'all, let's see, I'm gonna pull up a calendar so we can be exact. So September, oh, I think I went too far. Okay, September, October, so that's 2, November 3, December 4, January 5, February 6, March 7. Okay, and I did not get cleared, y'all. I was gone for approximately 7 months. So from when I got COVID until, like, I want to say like 4 weeks ago is when I got cleared. Like, they would not clear me that whole time because they just wanted to make sure that the complications that I was having from COVID weren't not life-threatening, but they weren't gonna, like, make, what's the word? It wasn't gonna make it harder for me to do my sport, like, when I went back. So, like, say I went back to track practice and something happened with me from COVID. I don't want nothing to happen even more. If y'all get what I'm saying, I'm trying to put it in words, but I don't know. So yeah, basically, yeah, that. So I had been gone for 7 months. I couldn't do much, like, really minimum activity. I've been to, like, over, this is the most I've ever seen a doctor. Like, when I was at school, I had to go to the doctors, like, every Monday, whatever. And then they sent us home for winter break. I went home and I started having doctor's appointments with my normal doctor, and then she sent me to a specialist for heart and lung, and I was seeing him, and he sent me to do different tests to make sure I was okay. And then he gave me the A-OK to come back to school and resume activity. So then I get back to school, and you had to get cleared by the school's physicians before you could, move back into what you were doing. So I went to see the school's physicians, and I had to just go through different tests and process to make sure I was ready to run again, at practice at the same pace like I used to be. So yeah, that was that. So basically, I was gone for those 7 months, and yeah, so now I'm currently back at track practice. I wouldn't say, like, I feel back 100% and I feel like, you know, I'm back normal, because that would be a lie. Like, I feel like every day is like it's a, you know, progress, because as much as I want to be back at 100% and want to be back to the athlete that I was, it's just not gonna happen overnight. I know that, because for one, I've been gone for 7 months. For two, my body has endured a whole virus. And for three, I have asthma that's now more, you know, easily triggered. So that whole process has just, you know, kind of opened my eyes a little bit more. So I'm kind of like going through the motions now at practice, trying to get back out there and trying to, you know, push myself a little bit harder, because I know what I'm capable of. You know, it's kind of like a setback, so I don't want it to be too much of a setback, you know. So yeah, your girl is back at practice. I'm actually competing, but I'm not, you know, where I want to be, but I'm where like my body is right now. So that's an everyday journey, and I'm on the road to 100% recovery. That's just the overall goal. Like, I'm going after, you know, gotta go after everything that's yours, and you can't let nothing define you or put you in a category to hold you back and stop you. So basically, like, you gotta trust your faith, you gotta trust in God, and know what you can do, what you can and what you will do, and what you're capable of. And those are like the little things I just kept telling myself, like, you know, I will overcome, I will do, you know. So let's I wrote, like, I had sent my family this message when I got cleared, basically just letting them know, like, my testimony and everything, and how I felt. So I guess I'm gonna read it to you guys, and I'm gonna leave it off on this and let y'all know that, you know, God sends his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. So, like, with everything that you go through in life, like, just use it as an opportunity to know, like, once you complete it, once you get through, you can do anything, you know. So it says, in September, I realized that I wasn't feeling my best. My body was telling me something. It was off. While being away in school in South Carolina, I was hoping for the best, but later I found out that I tested positive for COVID, and it hit me as surprise at first. I was in shock, but during the process of me having COVID, it was hard. I had to quarantine on my own. But during quarantine, my family, my church family, and friends were there for me. With me being 400 miles away, they called, they talked to me, they kept me in good spirits. I'll be lying if I said it was easy. In actuality, it was hard. I got weary and definitely times felt alone. But I trusted my faith. I prayed. I knew that God was covering me, and I kept telling myself, God only sends his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. I had to be brave, which I was. Once I was out of quarantine, my battle was over, but little did I know I was nowhere near done. I went through side effects from me having COVID. I had really bad respiratory problems that were affecting my asthma. With those side effects happening, it stopped me from doing something that I had a passion for, track. It was a hard time accepting the fact that I couldn't run, I couldn't participate with my sport. And with all this happening, I thought things were getting good for me. Our season was soon to start, but once again, I had to understand. Hold on, where I leave off? Understanding. I had to lean on God's understanding and guidance. I went through a hard 6 months of doctor's appointment, lab work, tests, breathing treatments, medicines, seeing many doctors to finally getting cleared. All I could do is say thank you, because if it wasn't for God, I felt as if I could have gave up. I prayed many nights, I cried many tears, and I fought this battle within myself. I wrote all this to say, you go through things, you don't understand why or how things work, but you trust in God and he will bring you through. This journey was not easy, it wasn't short, and it wasn't for, nothing. It taught me so much throughout it. I couldn't be more thankful that I'm living through my own testimony, and I'm standing, and I am clear, and I will, and I am coming for everything that's mine. So yeah, y'all, this is just my little story, letting y'all know how I had COVID and how I'm overcoming it. And yeah, so if I could do it, you can do it. All I can say is just trust your faith. Your support system carries you a long way, and you can do anything that you put your mind through. So y'all stay tuned and keep tuning in with me, and I'll keep y'all updated on my journey and how things are going with me. Thanks, guys.